Welcome once again to the Stogie Palace. I am your host and longtime buddy and pal, Chris. Having a cigar out here in the palace. Want to give you some of my thoughts on podcasting. Mainly about a situation that's pretty recent. In a year or two from now, nobody will care or know what I'm talking about, but it has to do with Adam Carolla. And like I said, I want to give out shout outs to people who I think, or products that I think you'll like. And Adam Carolla is a funny guy, talented guy. I watch his TV show, Catch a Contractor, listen to his podcast. I think his podcast with him and Dr. Drew is probably the best one. But recently, he was all over, I don't know if all over the news, but his fans, which are many in Legion, made a big deal about him firing his news person, Alison Rosen. When I tell stories like this, I like to tell how I'm connected to him, not just the same thing that you've seen somewhere else. And for you that are fans of his, that are seeing this because it has his name on it, you'll probably want to skip through the next 5 minutes. But it's just my background about podcasting. I've been podcasting since 2008. Definitely not one of the first or the earliest, but amongst, let's just put it this way. A lot of people don't have a good voice for radio or podcasts. A lot of people, like myself, don't have the best face for TV. Why do you think I didn't do videos until now? I did podcasting, and I was pretty good at it. I still am. I don't do it as much, but I didn't mind about local politics just in the city I was in, and did pretty well. It was definitely one of the first here in Boulder County. Well, not there anymore, thank God. And I was recognized for it. And oddly enough, here's the connection slightly, is that the company who I did my hosting was, and I don't know if it is anymore, the same company that hosted Adam Carolla, the most downloaded podcaster in the world. I think he holds a Guinness Book of World Records for it or something like that. And rightly so, he's good. And he has a few shows. They're all quality, and he's talented. He's a funny guy. As usual, I got bored with it. Figured, what's the point, I didn't push it too hard. I didn't advertise enough. I could have done more with it, but, I had a life, and I was a big fish in a little pond, but there's only so far you can go with something like that. So, took off for a couple years, started back up again a couple years ago, 3 years ago, 2012. And that was sort of a network, sort of like his is a network with multiple shows on it. I started this little network mainly to help my son learn the ropes about producing and having voice talent and writing and promoting it, social media. Now he's on his way to being either sports or news broadcaster. Either he already calls games, and he's been on local TV for his college, his university, and he's going to be doing a career in that. That was kind of the whole point of doing that. But I had, once again, another podcast I do with local politics, where I had elected officials come in on the show. Some of it was live, with call-in, with live chat room. It was a lot of work. And I had another one with me and this other guy, and it was more like crossfire with two different political points of view. And then I had one that was just an afterthought about camping. Oddly enough, that's the only one still active, sort of, on the network, and it does better than all the others combined. Not a whole lot of effort, but a whole lot of payback as far as the amount of downloads all over the world. It's pretty rewarding, although kind of getting a little burnout on it too, because you have to keep having content. You have to, I don't know. You can only talk so much about certain things. Then you start talking like I am to you, just more on a personal level, which turns out that's what people wanted. So I'll probably do it again when camping season comes around. So, a friend of mine at work, he is a big fan of Adam Carolla's, and he says, you got to listen to his show. And I knew it was huge. And I listened to podcasts, and I don't know why I didn't listen to his, but as soon as I started watching his stuff on TV, I go, okay, I'm going to give it a try. And I liked it. It's a little stilted. It's the best way I can describe it. And a lot of it had to do with sometimes him. I don't know if he's ADD or OCD or what, but sometimes he'll jump around. But or his sidekicks that are with him. This news girl, Alison Rosen, for instance. That's why I like the show with him and Dr. Drew, because it's a lot linear, it's a lot smoother. There's not as many breaks in it. The calls that they get in aren't really like most talk shows. To me, the calls sort of drag down the show. It's what they do with those calls, or what they talk about for the first half hour before they even get to the calls, which I think is the most interesting stuff, the two of them talking. And I hadn't listened to his flagship show, the one with Alison Rosen, during the holidays or after, so I didn't even know what had happened with her being fired. So I told my friend at work, the one who recommended it to me, I told him after a month of listening to that show, I go, Alison Rosen is not a good addition to that show. She actually, to me, brought nothing to the show. She's not funny, and I did not know her name or anything about her before the show. I went in cold. I don't know any of his sidekicks. I know him, obviously, but I did not come in with any preconceived notions about anything. But I know, in my mind, I know what works, what doesn't work, what's entertaining, what's funny, what's witty, and I didn't think she brought a single thing to that show. I didn't think her voice was all that terrific. Like I said, I didn't think she was funny. I thought she was just along for the ride, and I didn't know what the point of her reading her news stories were when anybody could have done that. That's just my opinion. I'm sure there's a lot of Adam Carolla fans that are not going to, probably 30-40% of them are not going to agree with that and have the hate on for me for saying it, but that's just the way I felt. So, of course, I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised when my friend after the holidays told me, he goes, man, you were prophetic about Alison Rosen. I had no idea what he was talking about. He goes, he fired her, and he talked about it on his show. Didn't surprise me at all. I don't know who her replacement is. I don't know if she's any better. And I know that, where I found out in that period, that I guess Adam Carolla's got a problem with some of the comments he's made about women not being funny. Well, I'm sure what he meant, and I don't know, is that there's not as many funny women comedians as there are men comedians. I mean, that's, I think, pretty provable. It's not saying that women can't be as funny. Of course they can. There's been lots of funny women through the years. I think I even saw on Netflix that somebody made a movie about women being funny or funnier than men, and it even had his name listed. I don't know what it's about. I know it's rated pretty low on Netflix. I don't know if it's just a hit piece or getting even with him, and I don't know. But like I said, I haven't heard the show since. I don't know if it's any better or not. Like I said, it's not my favorite of his shows anyway. But I did see a YouTube video that was put together in 4 parts having to do with his further explanation. I guess he felt that, or his fans let him know that he didn't explain it good enough, and it didn't sound like she was that she belonged on the show after some of the things he had said of what she was like. And I maintain that she did not fit on that show. Maybe it just happened that the shows that I heard were the ones that were towards the end of her tenure on there when things were going south. I don't know. I personally can't see the point of having people on your staff or part of your team that aren't pulling their weight. I know she had her own podcast, which has since, I guess, been pulled off of his network, and I heard him talk about how he wanted to have his logo on her videos, or at least on her iTunes banner, which I don't think is too much to ask since he's paying the bills. Yeah, he's taking a cut of what she makes, but he's the boss. You know, there's something to be said for that. But anyway, though, it's not going to affect me listening to him. He calls the shots. He's the boss. Just like, I mean, on a much, much smaller scale, trust me. I was running my network, and I would make the decision, and that was that. You know, I was paying the bills. There wasn't any money. Well, there was some small ad revenue coming in. It was mostly just for fun, and like I said, to help my son learn the ropes, which it succeeded in that. But he's a smart guy. He's a talented guy. To think that otherwise is foolish. So that's just my thoughts on that. Podcasting in general. There's a lot of people out there podcasting. I listen to stuff that either makes me laugh, makes me think. Mostly it makes me laugh. I like people that are witty, funny, and hey, it's shout out time. There you go. There's a shout out for you, Adam Carolla. Catch a Contractor, great show. You should watch that. And him and Dr. Drew, I think, is the best one. The one where he has a podcast about working on houses. The guy who he's with, worse than Alison Rosen. That I don't know what I guess he has some expertise in the construction industry. I don't know. But I've also heard him badmouth him on the Dr. Drew show. And I think even on his own show. This Ray guy. I guess that show's not going to be around if it's not the two of them. Although Adam Carolla could easily do it on his own. But I can see the point of what he's doing. I mean, just like when I wanted to have a different show that had two people on it. So, you know, I'm not a narcissist. I want to have another opinion. And I had an opinion that was 180 degrees off of mine, intentionally. And just to banter back and forth, because that's one thing that we did well, bantered back and forth. Didn't agree on hardly anything politically, but we were friends. Had fun doing it, but it was a lot of work, mostly on my part, paying all the bills too. But anyway, that's just my thought on podcasts. Take it as you want. I also like listening to Phil Hendry. He doesn't just, I guess now technically his is a podcast. It was on the radio, syndicated all over the country for a long time there, and he pulled it off, and I understand why, and I don't blame him. So now it is more like a podcast 5 days a week, and Adam Carolla you can get for free, so I'm not telling you something that you have to subscribe to. Phil Hendry, you can get the most 5 current shows for free. So as long as you keep up with it, you can get it for free. If you want to listen to older shows or a Saturday special show, you do have to pay a subscription of, I think it's about $10 a month. But it's pretty entertaining radio. I won't spoil it for you what his show is, but it's unique. Phil Hendry, Hendrie, which is philhendryshow.com. I'm sure you can find him on iTunes. I know you can find him on his website or your podcatcher. So that's my take on that situation and podcasting. And yes, there are some people out there doing it that probably shouldn't. And I like listening to cigar podcasts, I think I mentioned before. And there's some on there that probably shouldn't be doing it. And I think most of those have gone by the wayside. There's some on there that do a very good job at it. And I subscribe to them. And I mentioned Cigar Authority, for instance, is definitely one that I listen to on a regular basis. And a lot of it has to do with, yes, they have the expertise to back up what they're saying, but they also have the personality, and they have the charisma, and the people that are successful. I'm talking about, including this one here, this Adam Carolla, Phil Hendry, Cigar Authority. No, I'm putting Cigar Authority into a pretty elevated area there with those two guys. But I look at different subjects, who's good at it, who's entertaining, and that's really comes down to. Wish I was that entertaining and enthralling as those guys, but I'm not. But I'm also not in it for the money. I'm not trying to make a living off of it. So thanks for watching from the Stogie Palace, where I spout off with a cigar, tell you what I'm thinking, and see if it's what you're thinking or not. Probably not. That's the whole point. Be telling you something you don't know already. So this is Chris signing off. See you on the next recording or whatever video.